Christmas Eve, babe, and the drunk tank.
Start the show off with a little Christmas music, little Dropkick Murphys in the background. Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome to MURFS Quick Hits. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to turn the music down a little bit, and welcome to MURFS Quick Hits. I would think of nothing more absurd to do but to break into the beginning of the Jet game for a MURFS Quick Hits. So I will eventually be upstairs watching this game, but you know what? The Jets can wait. They'll be a topic for a little while. I'm going to go over the NFL games in a few. I've been off the radar for a little while. I've been working a lot. Yes. I put heavy whipping cream in my coffee. No, just put milk. I'm live right now, buddy. That's okay. Well, anyway, that's what happens when you go live. Heavy whipping cream in your coffee. Sometimes good. I don't know. It gets the preferred taste. But anyway, we're going to talk about the NFL games later. The Jet game is probably starting in a couple of minutes. It is Christmas Eve, and Merry Christmas. Like I said, I've been off the radar for a little while. Been working a lot, coming home. I'm tired, and I just want to come home and see the family and stuff like that, because that is the most important stuff in life, is the family. And Christmas time is a time when I guess people, I don't know if they realize it more or they think about it more, but you really should think about it all year round, and just makes it, nice to see, to get around the Christmas tree and wake up on Christmas morning and wish each other a Merry Christmas. And it's pretty much, that's what it's all about, family. And whatever your version of family may be, that's what it's all about. So I'd like to wish everybody out there very, very Merry Christmas. And the StreamYard app here, we're trying to get it off the ground. I sent out a couple of invites. I don't know if anybody's getting them or if they could sign on to it, but I'm trying. But this thing is actually pretty cool. It has a lot of leeway and a lot of space to get a lot of stuff done that we don't normally do. We can upload videos and stuff. But Eric, I think, is he's giving Jody a hand. I know Jody had a very successful surgery over the weekend, so applaud that. I saw Eric's video on his Facebook account where he was walking around the city in the cold weather. Eric, I know it was cold that day, but I work in that weather every single day, dude. It's pretty chilly, right? And I walk 22, probably 30 blocks a day. I'm just kidding, buddy. It's nice. It was a nice walk, though. But I'm glad to see Jody's okay, and we're going to get you back in action in a little while. I'm not going to be on too long today, but there is a couple of things that I got to say. Before I get to all this NFL stuff, there has been a lot of stuff going on in Major League Baseball. Now, I could sit here and go on a rant about the Mets. I could sit here and go on a rant about all the money that the Dodgers spent. But you know what, though? At the end of the day, it's the guy who spent the most money. Now, I don't have a problem with it. And the Dodgers won in the aspect of the way Shohei and Ohtani structured that deal. So the Mets at the end of the day, I don't know if you guys heard the last MURFS Quick Hits we did. The Mets at the end of the day, they dropped the ball. Not even like they dropped the ball. I'm not even saying they dropped the ball. Picture this for a second, okay? You're Steve Cohen. You have 17, 20 billion, whatever, at that point in his life that really, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? Because it's just billions, okay? So you really want to get this kid, okay? This Yamamoto guy. So he's like, all right, we really got to get him. So you know what? I'm going to fly out to Japan and I'm going to take him out to dinner. Now, what do you think it's like to have dinner with Steve Cohen in Japan while he's trying to woo what they're saying is one of the best pitching prospects to come to this country in, I don't know, whatever. Right now, they're touting him to be the next, I don't know, pick your great pitcher. But, and he hasn't thrown a pitch in the major leagues yet, but, that's to be seen. I guess the scouting reports of him are pretty good. But what do you think it's like? Like, you think it's like, I've seen Billions. You know what I mean? It's like, do they go into this like dark room in the black marble walls, a little light, family sitting there? They have this high price sushi coming from all over, right out, fresh sushi, whatever they're eating. It's like, thousands and thousands of dollars. Then you just sit down, he eats the meal. Like, they get up, they have a drink, they toast, and then they say, all right, I guess we'll talk to you. They go back to the hotels. Steve Cohen gets back on his private jet, goes back to New York, and he goes, honey, how'd that go? And he says, the meal was good. He seemed okay. The interpreter, this, that, and the other thing. So I don't know. I guess we got a shot. You don't have a shot. You know why? Because Shohei Ohtani structured that deal, and it was his idea, apparently. So that being said, we all know what the whole take is on Ohtani's deal. $700 million contract. It's a lot of money. But you know what, though? The first 10 years of his deal, it's a 10-year, $700 million contract, which is going to pay him $2 million a year. That also makes him the the highest paid athlete on the planet. It was Lionel Messi with the $673 million contract, but the $700 million contract makes it the biggest ever. So what's happening with this, it's very backloaded. So for the first 10 years of his contract, he's going to be making $2 million. You heard that right, guys, $2 million. You know what that does? That keeps money down for the Dodgers and their foundation. I guess they're owned by a bunch of people. There's a group, and keeps their payroll down. You know why? So they could bring in Yamamoto. Knew all along. I'm sure they knew all along that he was going to go there because they gave him $325 million. They made him the highest paid pitcher in the history of baseball. You know, I think it's by like, I don't know, it was $1 million, or I think it's $1 million over Garrett Cole. So he's going to be making a lot of money, this kid. So Ohtani knew exactly what he was doing because he even said it, hey, I'm making $50 million a year in contracts anyway. So that leaves the Japanese pitcher, Yamamoto, and Shohei Ohtani over there in the Dodgers. Now, these guys have spent almost $1 billion on a couple of players in this offseason. Now, let's mind you, this is a Dodgers baseball team that really hasn't won anything. They've been spending money. Their pitchers have been coming through. You know, Mookie Betts, they wooed him over here. They're always, I guess, there, but they won the 2020 fake World Series. And like I said it, it's the fake World Series. I mean, the fact that, a second, let me check something here. I mean, the fact that he is, a second, let me check something here. All right. $1 billion, right? You got these guys like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman over there too. Now, from what I understand, they have some deferments to their contracts as well. But that being said, is I guess it's smart. It keeps the payroll down, like you said. Obviously, it keeps it down because of the fact that they're, get my volume up a little bit. Let me make sure make this muted. Just want to make sure how my volume is. All right. I just want to make sure the volume is all good. But yeah, it's $1 billion on some baseball players, 2 Japanese players, Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani. Now, Shohei Ohtani is not going to pitch next year. So that $700 million is, in fact, the fact that he is going to eventually pitch in 2025. Now, Walker Buehler is going to be a year older. That pitching staff is going to be a year older. I don't know what that pitching staff is going to look like, but when opening day comes and you see a lineup of Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Shohei Ohtani at DH as 1, 2, 3, and then a cast of characters like Muncy, who hit 36 home runs last year. Let's go down the list of what they're. We had Mookie Betts last year. Mookie Betts hit 39 home runs. He had 40 doubles, 107 RBIs. Freddie Freeman had 29 home runs. Max Muncy hit 36 home runs. JD Martinez hit 36 home runs, 103 RBIs. Listen, these guys were hitting the ball. They were pitching. Last year, their record, if I am correct, they won 100 games, I think, but I don't recall. But I think they were 100, 101 games. But you know what that got them? Nothing. The Arizona Diamondbacks came out of nowhere and said, go home, Dodgers, sit down. So they had a good team last year. Yes, they had Shohei Ohtani, and yes, they had Yamamoto. Now, listen, mind you, Yamamoto was not throwing a pitch in the major leagues yet. Now, these are major league hitters. I don't know how much different it is. I mean, we did lose in the baseball classic there to the Japanese. But that being said, the greatest players in the world are here in the United States of America, and I do say that. Listen, you have your other players sprinkled out, but as a bunch, as a whole, these are the greatest players on the planet, and that is why everybody comes to want to thrive here. So if you thrive here, you make the big bucks. You're playing against the biggest players in the world. Now, the money is a lot, and I have come to the conclusion that Cohen has a lot of money. Now, Cohen offered this guy a lot of money. Now, he just didn't want to come here. Doesn't seem anybody wants to come here. I don't know I hope I'm not looking at this the wrong way, but the Mets do not seem like a destination right now because maybe somebody knows something, or maybe somebody thinks something's up in the clubhouse, or maybe one of these guys isn't a good guy. But I have to believe in my heart of hearts that the manager thing drives me crazy. Okay. That was something that they maybe should have put a little bit more thought into. But that also being said, I think that this team could be a good team. They got a lot of young talent. They got the catcher there. So I'm not saying that they're just like cashing their chips in or looking ahead to 2025. Ronnie Mauricio out, I think he blew out his ACL. So I don't know what the Mets are going to be next year. I know it's not going to be like last year, where going into the season, we're going to be thinking that they're going to win the World Series. But you know what? That's what Met fans do every year. But I do think that we're going to go into next season thinking that maybe we'll be competitive. Maybe they will make a move. Maybe at the end of next year, trade deadline. Maybe Juan Soto isn't working out with the Yankees. I don't see that happening because with a lineup like Soto and Judge, you got Garrett Cole there, and you could talk about the Yankees and making moves. And the Yankees did exactly what they needed to do. I know I jumped over the topics there for the Mets and the Yankees, but they're kind of one and the same with the Yamamoto deal because they offered them, a good sum of money too, not as much as the Mets and Dodgers did, but they came in just a tad under 320 themselves. So, I mean, the Yankees were really going for it too. I mean, what about if they got him? But the Dodgers got him. So, back to being said, we're going back to what the Dodgers have done nothing. They won the fake World Series in 2020, and they're going into this year, obviously, as the clear favorite to win the World Series. But as we saw last year, a team like the Arizona Diamondbacks could basically just shock the world. Or how about a team like, listen, don't count the Atlanta Braves out. The Atlanta Braves have Ronald Acuna Jr., who right now, hands down, is the best player on the planet. He's playing in Atlanta, guys. And that is not a fluke season last year. He's still young. So they're going to come back hungry. They're going to want to win. They're not saying, we did just good enough this year. No. The Phillies are working it. They want it. Bryce Harper, somebody who I did not like when he was young. Did not like him. But you know what, though? I guess he's grown on me a little bit. Not saying I like him, not saying I like the Phillies, because that's Philadelphia Phillies. As a Met fan, that's the team. Don't like them. Don't like the Braves. Don't like the Phillies. Don't have any reason not to like the Marlins. They've never done anything to hurt us. But, hey, who knows? They might be coming past us with their young talent, too. So you never know. We might be on the bottom looking up at all the teams if we don't start doing some shit soon. But with that being said, I think that the Yankees, they were really going for it, too, there. So between the Mets and the Yankees and losing out to the Dodgers, so the Dodgers are going to have a lot. The spotlight is going to be on them right now. Okay. If there's a team right now that the spotlight is going to be on, it's going to be the Dodgers. I guess they don't care. At the end of the day, it's like the fact that they really just, they're the Dodgers, it's kind of like they're just one of those teams. They just eat the spotlight up. Actually, maybe they do get nervous in the spotlight. Clayton Kershaw walking into the Hall of Fame, terrible playoff pitcher. Maybe he didn't like the spotlight. I don't know. But all I do know is they've won one World Series in 2020. They spent $1 trillion and they've really got nothing to show for it. But hey, listen, who knows? But let's see if this Shohei Ohtani thing works out. I mean, Shohei Ohtani could be a genius. I mean, I was looking at something, the thing when they were doing his contract, they were saying that the reason why he structured this contract because he has a 10-year deal. And everybody knows this 1996 federal law forbids states from taxing their retirement income on out-of-state residents when payments are made in equal amounts of over 10 years. That's Shohei Ohtani's contract. He's going to make $2 million a year for 10 years. He's going to make $50 million plus on endorsements for the next 10 years. And you know what, though? The rest of that money, $680 million, is going to be put out to him interest-free, which that's a little crazy, but in installments of 10 installments. And he's going to get all that money, and he's just going to be, it's a lot of money anyway, either way. But I just hope that this injury that he has isn't worse because he is an exciting player. And you also did find out this year with all these, with all this contract negotiation that he is a little bit of a diva. So I don't know if that's going to help him, hurt him, or what it's going to do. But all I know is Shohei Ohtani, if you can't handle the spotlight is going to be on the Dodgers. But you know who it's going to be on, buddy? It's going to be on you. You have to produce. And hey, you're healthy. You're going to produce. You're the best player in baseball right now. But you got a lot of young, hungry guys that are going to want to try and prove you wrong. You got a lot of pitchers that are going to want to prove you wrong next year. Major League Baseball, you guys have to go at this guy. Don't be afraid to pitch to him, okay? Don't be afraid to play against this guy. Make this guy human, all right? That's everybody in Major League Baseball. I'm not saying he's not the best because he is the best. A lot of good young talent. I'll tell you who is another young, talented guy, but you don't even think he's a young talent, is the Yankees did something that had to be done with this Juan Soto deal. I know I talked about it last time, but the more I think about it, Judge and Soto in that lineup, yeah, the Yankees always figure it. They'll figure something out. Their pitching's going to be there. I mean, if their guys in their lineup, even they got two premier players in that lineup right now in Soto and Judge. Now, I don't know what the Yankees are going to do with their lineup, and I know you listen to Sports Talk Radio, and it's they usually all these passionate Yankee fans saying that Judge has to bat here and Soto has to bat here and DJ and this guy and who's going to play short. And it's all a big conglomerate of stuff that, listen, we as passionate fans, all I want to see is on my baseball team next year is I just want to see Francisco Lindor be the captain of that baseball team and give him that C and come on, just do something next year. But we're talking about the Yankees right now, and they did make a fantastic move because Juan Soto is a player that can hit the ball all over the field. You throw him that ball, if he wants to hit it to left field, hit it to left center, right center, up the gap, wherever he gets a good pitch to hit, he can put it wherever he wants. That being said, that short porch out there, he adjusts his swing. He's going to hit 60 home runs. He's going to hit 50 doubles. I mean, this guy is going to be a machine in Yankee Stadium. He's going to cover the outfield decently. But I also said, too, last time, I'm not going to harp on it again, but Judge has to play center field. He's the guy. He's the player. He's the highest paid guy. He's got to get that position, and he has to play center field. So that being said, Yankees, you lost out on Yamamoto. What's going to happen? I know I saw Blake Snell went to the Dodgers. Whatever, the Dodgers keep spending money. Blake Snell doesn't impress me. The guy won a Cy Young, but, he's a 5-inning guy. He's got great stuff. I don't know, man. A lot of these guys that give like 5 or 6 innings, it's just kind of like, I don't know. They're just not entertaining to watch. And I know this Tyler Glasnow thing. Not only is he coming from the Tampa Bay Rays, which I've always said is an organization that pumps out pitchers, and once you leave, they're not the guy that was in Tampa Bay. I'm not saying he's a bad pitcher. I'm not saying, but maybe with different guidance over where he is over there in LA. I don't know what their pitching coaches are like, but I don't know. We'll have to see about that because you got Blake Snell and you got the other guy over there in San Diego. It's like, you know what? They are pitching good, but I don't know. They pitched really well, and there's got to be something going on in Tampa. So see what happens with Tyler Glasnow. He has an injury too that he has to get over. So Dodgers are pretty set there. So the Dodgers are going to go in. So if you're a Dodger fan right now, it's like you got to go into next year saying that you're going to win the World Series. And if you don't, you're going to be, that's it. You're going to be very, very upset because with that lineup and all that money that they spent, and look, I know Steve Cohen's spending a lot of money, and I get it. And on the outside looking in, it doesn't look like you guys are spending that much money per year. If you don't add the end-loaded contract, maybe Steve Cohen does have to start doing those kind of deals. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. You talk about Soto coming, not even just to the Yankees. I mean, to the Mets. Maybe he does leave the Yankees after next year for bigger money. Who knows? He's 25, and he's going to be around a long time. So lots of stuff to go into what's going on in baseball. I mean, baseball is, like it is every year around this time. You always want your team to make that big splash, and when they don't, it just becomes kind of like maybe they should have done something, but whatever. We'll see. The Mets, I'm a Met fan and I'm a Jet fan, and so is my son upstairs watching the Jet game as we speak kickoff. I don't know what's going on yet because I'm going to give our picks, and I'm going to give the Jets maybe another 20 minutes to 30 minutes because my wife is out shopping right now, doing some last minute shopping on Christmas Eve with her sister. And my nephew and my kids are upstairs. Jack is baking. Aiden is watching a football game, and we're going to enjoy a nice Christmas Eve here. And we are going out to dinner tonight. We're going to a nice Italian restaurant up on Route 9 in Wappingers. It's called Osteria, I think it is. And it's up on Route 9. It's that big orange building up there on the right-hand side if you're traveling north. We're going up there for dinner. We've been there before with friends of ours, Kate and Joe, and the food is out of this world. And I know my son Jack, being the secret chef, is very excited. And he's going to be critiquing it the whole way. So that's what we're doing tonight. And then we're going to wake up tomorrow morning and see what happens. Anybody wants to come over? Anybody's out there? Anybody has nowhere to go? Anybody's just sitting there by themselves? Anybody's hanging out? We are going to be home. The Murphys will, Murphys will welcome you guys. If anybody's, not feeling it tomorrow, if anybody's under the, it is Men's Mental Health Month. Guys got to watch their mental health around this time, especially when they look up one day and they realize there's nobody around. You're like, holy shit. It's like, what am I doing? So I don't know. Guys need people to talk to too. And look, I'm here. Smurf, keep talking 365. I don't know who's out there listening, but you know what though? If guys want to talk, it's always good to talk. There's a lot of lonely people. So just remember it's Men's Mental Health Month, and just to check in on your buddies. You know what I'm saying? So today, the NFL, there are some football games on. I know that me and E have not been on live together for the last 2 weeks, but I know I had 7 wins last week, and I'm sure E had probably 10, 11, 12. He's been kicking my ass. and I am getting closer and closer to wearing that stupid LeBron James shirt. But let's see how it goes this week. We've already stepped off on the wrong foot, but I think we had the same picks. So I know I had 7 wins last week, and I mean, last week's football games were just I can't even. I mean, that Jet game last week. Now, it's just kind of like a culmination of everything that's been going on all year. They go out there and Zach Wilson throws for 300 whatever yards 2 weeks ago. It's a hero for the day. Told you so, man. Told you I could play football. I told you I didn't give up on you guys. Offensive line sucks. No, I told you I wasn't going to give up. I threw for, look at that, touchdowns. And I told you, Garrett, I'd get you the ball with his little, squeaky little voice and his hot mom on the Instagram there. And I don't even know what she says on there. I just look at her. It's like, oh my God. But anyway, she's out there protecting her son, saying that he had a concussion. And he went out there with a concussion. So what she's saying that the Jets went above protocol and sent the kid out there with a concussion because his mommy said so. I don't know. I don't know if that's really good for his persona, but all I know is that persona and those 2 concussions, 1 concussion, possibly 2 concussions, got him a seat on the bench. So Trevor Siemian is starting today. Now, what's going to happen today in the Jets game is either you're going to get a Jet defense who maybe just wants to show up today, or you're going to get a Jet. It all depends on the first drive in this Jet game today. And I don't even know what's going on. It's 1:20 on Sunday, and I'm not giving the Jets any of my time. Maybe I'll give the Jets in the middle of the second quarter. But I don't know if that Jet team is going to come out. And if the Jets come out and Trevor Siemian gives a decent performance, and he throws a touchdown maybe, or Breece Hall gets a good run. I don't know. Then the defense is like, all right. They come out and they smack these guys in the mouth, and maybe they win 6-0. I don't know. But that being said, I'm going to go through some of the games today. Now, last night's game. Now, let's talk about last night's game for a second. I'll go back to the Jets in a minute when I get to them. When I get to them in this row here, because I got to give my picks. Last night's game was a travesty for the Buffalo Bills. You got to be kidding me. The Chargers right now are probably the Jets and the Chargers, and I'll go through this list. And the Jets are playing the Commanders today. So it's probably the Jets, Commanders. These teams are in disarray. They're disheveled. They suck. I don't know what's going on in any of these organizations. The Chargers are terrible right now, and the Bills beat them 24-22. Now, admittingly, I did not watch the game. I don't know what happened. Was Josh Allen throwing the ball from a wheelchair because his knee was hurting, but he was still out there anyway? I don't know. Was Stephon Diggs, was he sitting on the bench? Was he not playing? What happened? That the Chargers were able to score 22 points. I would love to talk to a Buffalo Bills fan, but again, we're still trying to figure out this this live thing here. And I really don't know what's going on, but we're going to try to figure it out. But I would love to talk to a Bills fan and find out how you score 24 points, or at the least let the offense score 22. Bills, I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that division has a Miami Dolphins team that Tyreek Hill may or may not go today. And when Tyreek Hill going at 100%, that's a tough team right there. So Bills, you did nothing to impress. You kind of set yourself back a little bit in the pack. I mean, it looks like right now, the Dolphins are playing a big game today. I'm going to get to that game in a second. But the Dolphins are playing a big game. So in order for the Dolphins to play with the big boys, they got to win their game today. So I took last night. I know we took the Bills. I'm pretty sure E took the Bills also, but that was a big L for the Murph man. This next game, which is on right now, you got the Commanders at the Jets. Now, I wish I could have got the word out. My boy Timmy, he's back working with him now. He's at the Jets game today with his whole family, and they're tailgating at this Commanders and Jets game. I know his brother's a big Washington Commanders fan, but the Jets are favorites by 3 points to the Washington Commanders team that can't get out of its own way. They changed owners. Their quarterback, sometimes he'll throw for 900 yards and the other he'll throw for -6. They got a running game that they don't know which one is up. Their defense, they lost Chase Young. Chase Young ran for the hills. He's like, I ain't staying around here. I don't know what's going on with this guy. So, boom, he's gone. So, the Commanders are a team that's a little bit of a disarray. The Jets, if they really want to come out and make, whoa, we're still here for you guys. Watch us, fans. They could smack the Commanders in the mouth today. Or the Commanders and Sam, whatever his name is, could come out and throw for a bunch of yards. But all I know is the Jets have to – I don't even care. I'm just gonna throw my hand. I'm gonna go upstairs in a little while and kind of watch an entertaining or not so entertaining football game. Maybe Trevor Siemian gets off his ass and does something good. But all I know is Zach Wilson, 2 concussions, just sitting on the bench. Oh, I got you, man. I got you, man. I told you I could play good. No, you can't. The Jets, first and foremost, when you go into this offseason, now I'm just a guy that watches the team, but I do like to comment on it. Fire everybody on that offensive line, including that 7 foot, 400-pound giant. Everybody needs to go. Whatever money is owed on those contracts, pay them out and go. But wait a second. We have nobody on the offensive line. It doesn't matter. Start from scratch. Draft that kid, the center from Oregon. Draft that offensive lineman from LSU. There's that kid from Tennessee. There is offensive linemen coming out in the draft this year. The Jets have to do something. They have to start some kind of Kevin Mawai, Nick Mangold, the Brickashaw Ferguson kind of dynasty, because Mark Sanchez was a mediocre quarterback at best who went to the AFC Championship football game with a team around him that was ready to win, but the quarterback just couldn't make the plays. That offensive line was one of the greatest offensive lines I've ever seen and one of the greatest players that ever wore Jet uniforms that I have witnessed in Kevin Mawai, Nick Mangold, the Brickashaw Ferguson. He was a mediocre quarterback at best, and Zach Wilson isn't even a mediocre quarterback, and this offensive line needs to completely go, and they need to get shut down, and they need to retool their offensive line, starting from the center and out. Even Mekhi Becton, senior, or whatever it is, you're a giant. Maybe you go be be an actor in these. Maybe Dungeons and Dragons is making a new movie or something. You could be a giant in one of these movies. I don't know, because you cannot play football. You watch 225, 250-pound middle linebacker, left outside linebackers running past you like you're standing still. You need to get your head out of your 7-foot ass and start being the tough guy who you're supposed to be. The Jets are going to win this football game today. I don't know how they're going to, but I'm taking the Jets -3. Next game, Lions and Vikings. Now, this game right here is huge for the Lions. Now, when I say it's huge for the Lions, it means that the Lions could clinch the division, clinch a playoff spot that they haven't done since 1991, when the greatest player ever to put on a pair of cleats played for the Detroit Lions, and that would be Barry Sanders, and they lost that football game. Barry Sanders, I said it, the greatest football player ever to put on a pair of cleats and the most dominating at his position, him and LT. Now, that's the last time they clinched it, and today they're playing against the Vikings. The Vikings don't know which way is up. They're playing in Minnesota. +3, Vikings. Vikings, the kid Dobbs thought he was the quarterback. Now he's not the quarterback. This other guy's a quarterback. Lots of quarterback shuffling going on in the NFL right now. I honestly can tell you right now, I try to do a sports show. I try to do a sports show where I know what I know, but I don't know all the quarterback shuffle going on right now. I cannot tell you the kid's name is starting for the Vikings today, but all I know is the Detroit Lions are going to go into Minnesota and make a goddamn statement. If I had to have a team that I'd be rooting for in this, it's the Detroit Lions. The Jets are out. The Detroit Lions need to have something good happen. I watched that Barry Sanders documentary on Amazon Prime recently. It's a really, really good documentary. It's him walking around with his 4 kids, asking him questions, going through his career. I really suggest you take a watch. I love Barry Sanders, and if you love Barry Sanders like I do, check that documentary out on Amazon Prime. And do it for Barry, guys. I hope he's there today. The Detroit Lions are going to win this football. I am taking Detroit. Next in our list of games for the day, we got the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans. This game, no CJ Stroud, period. Joe Flacco coming out of nowhere, throwing the football all over the place for the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is hungry. Cleveland needs to win this game. Without CJ Stroud, the Texans, I cannot think that, again, the name of the quarterback escapes me, but I don't think that offense could contend with the Cleveland Browns defense, who really thinks that they can win that division, who really thinks that they can make a wild card. So I'm telling you right now, Joe Flacco, who played for the Jets, couldn't get out of his own way, has a resurgence in Cleveland. Cleveland wins today. And I don't know if they clinch a playoff, but Cleveland wins today. And I think Cleveland wins by at least a touchdown or 2, because without CJ Stroud, he's coming back next week. The kid's got a concussion. I get it. But you know what? Your team needs you. And Listen, maybe not the playoffs this year. So CJ come out next year. Maybe he'll throw for 5,000 yards next year. But I am taking the Cleveland Browns -2.5. The Green Bay Packers and the Carolina Panthers. Green Bay Packers need this game. They are still trying to get into the playoffs. The Carolina Panthers kind of cashed it in. I don't know. Their pick, they don't even have their pick. Chicago Bears are getting their pick. So Chicago Bears are rooting for the Packers today because they want the Panthers to win to lose as many games as possible. So I have to think that the Packers are going to go in there and they're going to Carolina. And I don't know what the reception is going to be for like a Carolina team that's got 2 wins. I think they got 2 wins. I got it here somewhere. But the Green Bay Packers are going to Carolina, and the Green Bay Packers need this game. I got to take the Green Bay Packers -4. Green Bay, Jordan Love, and the rest of the bunch. Listen, you have to put up points on this Carolina defense. You have to win this game by at least a touchdown and say, look, we are here. I know it's only Carolina, but listen, guys, you know as well as I do, everybody watches football. There's still NFL football players, and it's an NFL football game. You never know. These are men getting paid a lot of money to beat the living shit out of each other. So Green Bay, don't take anybody lightly and come out and put a stamp and say, listen, we are ready to get that chance to go to the playoffs. I am taking the Green Bay Packers. Seattle Seahawks and the Tennessee Titans. Seattle, don't know if Geno Smith's back tonight. I think he is. My buddy out there, Mikey's rooting for him. Seattle, Mikey from Seattle. Tennessee Titans, again, I just feel like I feel like this is like that guy in the group. Tennessee Titans are like that guy in the group they've been hanging out with for like 20 years. And all of a sudden, like, and you really knew nothing about that guy. You're like, oh my God, that guy, we hung out with that guy for like 20 years and I really knew nothing about him. It's like, that's kind of like what the Tennessee Titans are to me. They're good. They're not good. They might be there. Derrick Henry, this guy, that guy. No, Tennessee Titans are a boring, boring football team that plays boring, boring football. Seattle Seahawks need to win this game. They're going to run on that Tennessee defense. And let's say Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, that combination. Let's go Seattle. Let's go in there and beat Tennessee. And let's go Seattle. And let's make a push for the playoffs, guys. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks. The Colts and the Falcons. The Falcons are in disarray, not as much as the Jets and the other team I aforementioned, but the Atlanta Falcons have decided today to hang on to their coach. Their coach is what is wrong with that football team. They're talented guys and a terrible coach and a terrible quarterback. The Colts have to go in there and win today. They are still fighting for a championship there. They're still fighting to win that division. So you got the Colts +2.5. I cannot believe that's a plus. Maybe I'm reading that wrong, E, but we can discuss it when we're together. But I am taking the Indianapolis Colts to win this game with the points. Colts +2.5. Jacksonville Jaguars, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game is that simple. Baker Mayfield is playing like Baker Mayfield. He's not playing like everybody thought he was going to play when he got into the NFL, which is going to be a superstar, elite, high-level quarterback, although he's looked like that in the last couple of weeks. Tampa Bay is fighting, man. Jacksonville, little long-haired sunshine over there. Kid's hurt. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Even hurt. I don't think he's big enough boy now to overcome injuries like some of these guys do. But I'm telling you right now, Jacksonville needs this game. Tampa Bay needs this game. I've been riding with Tampa Bay the last couple of weeks. I got Tampa Bay at +1.5. Baker Mayfield is going to have a big game today. Tampa Bay is going to win this football game. I have this game right here starred for a reason because there's 2 games on this docket this week that I think that could be a Super Bowl preview. Now, this game right here is going to be played in Miami. Now, I don't know if my boy Mikey Pilata's out there, if he's listening, but I'll tell you right now, Mike, and Rich Morano and Mike Pilata, your Miami Dolphins are looking like a team that could win a Super Bowl this year. I don't even think that Tyreek Hill should go 100% today, even though it would be nice to see him. This could be a preview of the Super Bowl, guys. The Cowboys and the Dolphins, 2 high-power offenses. There's a guy in Tyreek Hill that up until 2 weeks ago when he got hurt was on his way to 2,000 yards receiving, which is unprecedented in the NFL. Dak Prescott, everybody hates on Dak. You know who hates on Dak? Dallas Cowboy fans are the biggest critics of Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is looking like an MVP quarterback this year. CeeDee Lamb, even what's his name, number 3 over there, Cooks. This team is primed to win a Super Bowl this year. And I'm telling you right now, do not sleep on this Dallas Cowboys football team. And if the Miami Dolphins defense could stop those 2 wide receivers and stop that long ball and stop Dak Prescott, I don't know. That Dolphins defense is ready for the task, but that coach has to get them pumped because I could tell you right now, if Tyreek Hill comes and he plays this game and he's 100%, that team is going to score some points, and so are the Cowboys. So I'm going to have to take the Cowboys in this at plus 1.5. But I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a good game and a possible preview for the Super Bowl. So I'm going to take the Cowboys at plus 1.5. Remember, guys, possible preview of a Super Bowl. I'm going to give you one more preview, and that's the team that I think is going to win the Super Bowl. So right now, this game, I don't even know why they're playing this game. But you know what, though? It's the NFL, and they have to play these games. The Arizona Cardinals and the Chicago Bears. Now, there's two quarterbacks that have started for this football teams. There is Kyler Murray in Arizona, who hurt himself. He was out, done. Everybody's like, they don't like his attitude. Maybe he should have went to play baseball. He doesn't like his players. Players don't like him. He's a bad attitude. He's a bad seed. He gets hurt. He's lazy. He comes back. He's starting to look like Kyler Murray again. They start surrounding that kid with some talented wide receivers and maybe an offensive line. Maybe the Arizona Cardinals get something done. Chicago Bears, you know what, though? I will gladly take that quarterback, number one, that you have getting that ball snapped to right now. That kid can wear a Jets uniform any day of the week. I want this kid in a Jets uniform. Let's try and figure something out, Joe Douglas, and see if we can get him in a Jets uniform. But this game right here, I'm taking the Chicago Bears to beat the Cardinals. It's in Chicago, and I don't know. I just like the Bears this week. So I'm taking the Bears at -4. Patriots Broncos. If this game was 15 years ago, I'd say, oh my God, it's a great matchup. A must watch tomorrow or tonight, 8:15, the night game, Channel 4, Christmas Eve. This is not a game that anybody's going to be watching. This is not a game that's going to take anybody away from drinking eggnog with their family, opening gifts, or sitting down and eating a great meal or going out to dinner tonight. We are. This is a terrible football game. The Patriots are a terrible football team. The Broncos are a team that is good. They're going to kill the Patriots. The Broncos are fighting for a playoff spot, but they're a boring football team too. So I got to tell you right now, and plus I don't like that Sean Payton. And that has nothing to do with the fact that he ripped Robert Salah, because Robert Salah is a pussy between me and you. But the Broncos and the Patriots, I won't be watching this game tonight. The Patriots plus 7.5. I think the Patriots are going to cover. I think the Broncos are going to win by a field goal, but I'm taking the Patriots at plus 7.5. The Las Vegas Raiders against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are home, which is for years and years and years supposed to be the loudest place on the planet to play. Taylor Swift will probably be in the building, which I think is, they should just, maybe they should ban her from the building. I don't know. Either way, she's going to be in the building leading her fans, because all eyes are going to be on her and not on her guy who is going to have probably 10 catches. I'm calling it right now. Kelsey's going to have a good night. Mahomes is going to have a good night. Hopefully Rice has a good night for Aiden's sake, because Aiden is playing in the playoffs for our fantasy football league, and he has Rice. So I am taking the Chiefs to cover the spread and not only beat the Raiders, kind of like put a staple and say, listen, we're ready to go to the playoffs and we're ready to be the number one seed. The Kansas City Chiefs win this football game going away, and they cover the spread. Kansas City Chiefs. The New York Giants against the Philadelphia Eagles. Everybody's talking about Jalen Hurts. This whole team hates him. His offensive line don't like him. Tush push. Talking about the running backs. Talking about the wide receivers. Talking about he's hurt. He's not hurt. Maybe he's faking it. He has to come out here and put a stamp on it. They were undefeated going up until a couple of weeks ago. They've shown signs of weakness, and they lost to a Jets team who, well, we all know what the Jets are right now. And that's one of the teams that started the downfall for this Philadelphia Eagles team, who is not looking good. The Giants are worse. The worst thing that could have happened is to give this kid a name like Tommy Cutlets or whatever the hell you're talking about with Tommy DeVito. I don't know what's going to happen with this kid after this year, but he's not going to be a quarterback on the New York Giants if the Giants have any semblance of dignity. So what's going to happen on this game is Tommy DeVito is going to come out with his Tommy Cutlets shirt and his agent with his suit, and Saquon Barkley is going to come out and figure out if he wants to hurt himself. Maybe he's going to leave the Giants, get a contract somewhere else. But you better play for that coach. I got to tell you right now, you guys better come out and at least make a showing for that coach. I don't think it's going to happen, because a couple of weeks ago I said the Giants play for their fans, but I don't know. Philadelphia Eagles need to win this game a lot more than the New York Giants, and the Philadelphia Eagles need to win this game by at least 2 touchdowns, which I don't think is going to happen. Eagles win this game. Giants cover. I'm taking the Giants plus 13.5. This game right here on Christmas, Monday Night Football. That's right. This game right here, mark it. If you don't watch any football this weekend, if you can't even watch your Jets or Giants, or if you're a Patriots fan, fuck the Patriots, sit down Monday night after you've been hanging out with the family, the kids open up all the gifts, You're sitting down relaxing with a cup of coffee or a beer or whatever it is you sit down and relax with, and watch the Baltimore Ravens against the San Francisco 49ers, because this game right here is another preview of what could be a Super Bowl matchup. Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson. He's running all over the place. Wide receivers are catching the ball. The offensive line is blocking for him. Their defense is playing great. Baltimore, they're there. They're in the conversation. They're in the conversation in the AFC with the Miami Dolphins. They're in the conversation with the Kansas City Chiefs. They are in that conversation with the team that I think is inevitably going to meet the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl, because the San Francisco 49ers are a juggernaut. And I heard somebody say it a couple of weeks ago in one of these sports talk shows that the only team in the NFL that could beat the San Francisco 49ers is the San Francisco 49ers. They are playing at such a high level. Barring no injuries, Brock Purdy may get the MVP. Barring no injuries, Deebo Samuel. Barring no injuries, Christian McCaffrey. Barring no injuries, the list goes on and on and on. And on the defensive side, this team is primed to win a Super Bowl. The 49ers are going to win this game, and they're going to say, what's up? And they're going to keep rolling and rolling and rolling. San Francisco 49ers win this football game. They cover the spread, and they march on the road one step further to the Super Bowl. I am taking the San Francisco 49ers in this matchup. All right, so that's my picks for this week, and E-Dubs will be back next week. But I have to end this conversation here with something I watched this morning. Now, you know how I'm a documentary guy, and I love all these documentaries. Now, this documentary specifically, for some reason, I see the alerts after the fact or whatever. But I'm going through the TV early the other morning. I'm just sitting here watching TV, and this documentary pops up. Is the Minister of Defense. Now, if anybody knows who the Minister of Defense is, if you listen to these stats, I'll let you know. The man played from 1985 to 1998. He had played 232 games, 198 sacks, and 1,048 solo tackles in his career. This guy was a man among boys in Tennessee, grew up in Tennessee, and he is probably one of the top 2, possibly 3 greatest defensive players that I've ever witnessed play football, and that is Reggie White. I watched this documentary this morning about Reggie White, and I kind of knew that he died young. I kind of knew a little bit about him, that he had very strong religious views. I mean, he's the guy that, everybody was breaking Tim Tebow's balls a couple of years ago about kneeling after a touchdown or kneeling after a game. Reggie White had people out there literally praying on the field, which that's fine. You have the right to express your religion, but you break Tebow's balls, but yet you turn around and Reggie White's doing it back then. It's fine. You shouldn't have a problem with either one, but that just goes to show how not far we've come, or how everybody observes stuff. Let them express themselves. But that being said, Reggie White used to get around on the field after the games with players from, it might be a couple players from the other team, and they would pray, which was fine. He was a very well known to be a very, very strong advocate of Catholicism. He had very strong beliefs against gays and gay marriage. He literally said that gay people should not have rights. He's strongly pro-life. I mean, to a point where he had a lot to say about people and abortion. I mean, he had a lot to say about race, and he was lambasted for it. I mean, he got up in the middle of he got up in Wisconsin, and he started talking about going off on a rant. And I think this is around 1996 or 1997. He was coming towards the tail end of his career. But he got up in Wisconsin and he started talking about the division of races, and why, what Chinese people are good at, what white people are good at, what black people are good at, why they do why different races do different things. And it was very awkward for a lot of people sitting there. And I don't know, everybody thought he was a nut. But he would always say that he was living his life for God. He was living his life through Jesus. It was because of God. It was because of God that he had all of the stuff that he had. Now, the thing I loved about this documentary is the fact that, and I noticed this too, but it was prevalent in the documentary, that everywhere he went, his son was right there with him. His son was in the locker room. His son was on the field. His son was touching the Super Bowl trophy. His son was getting interviewed. His son was with him everywhere he went. He was a super duper family dude. He was not a drinker. He was not a party. He was not a carouser. When he wasn't with his family, he was at church preaching. He was a victim of some severe racism down in Tennessee. His church was burnt down. I mean, he just had some really crazy views on race and like why people do certain things. And listen, he's allowed to have his opinions, allowed to have all that. But he basically said at the end of the day, like he literally thought that homosexuals are going to go to hell. People need to live their life right. And if you watch this documentary about him, and as this is going on, they're talking about what a great guy he is, and what a great athlete he is, and what he's killing it, but at the end of the day, he's like he ruffled a lot of feathers. But that being said, like his football life and his private life collided because they were even saying that they never really allowed them to bring religion into sports, and they allowed Reggie to talk. They told him that Jesus was the reason he was there. He said that it's because of Jesus, it's because of God, it's because of God. Now, I keep reiterating this fact because in a couple of minutes, I'm going to go into what happened to Reggie White at a certain point in his life where, he's like, everything. He's like, I was even a little taken back to see what the kind of a family man he was. Like, he would always mention, like, I'm a man of God. I'm a man of God, even before a family man, before a father. But it's watching him, the kid was with him everywhere. And his kid was in this documentary talking about him. And very heartbreaking because, like, he's watching this old video and seeing him as a kid. And, and he wasn't able to really, his father died at 43, and he was a teenager when his dad died. And he got to see a side of him. And but he always saw him. He was always there. He's always around. So I mean, that must have been pretty hard for him. Like he died in 2004 at 43 years old. So that guy and the guy in the football field were kind of like the same guy, I guess you would say. And his career was insane, man. I mean, he had in 1987 he had 21 sacks. In 1988 he had 18 sacks. He was the only guy, I think the only guy to ever win Defensive Player of the Year for two teams, the Eagles and the Packers. He went to the Packers, and he had said at one point that God had told him to go to the Packers. Again, these are all prerequisites for something I'm going to say in a couple of minutes about where he is before he died. He said it was, he sat down, and he talked to God, and God said this, and God told him to go to Green Bay. And I was like, so I went to Green Bay. And you know what, though? It worked out for me. He won a Super Bowl. He won a Defensive Player of the Year. He met Brett Favre. It all worked out for him. There was a time back when he played for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, I don't know if you guys all remember Jerome Brown. Jerome Brown was a beast of a football player at Miami, University of Miami. Then he gets drafted into the NFL to a Buddy Ryan defense, and Reggie White took a real liking to him. And you can see from the documentary, they were complete opposites. Jerome Brown died in a car accident with his 12-year-old nephew in it. He was driving very fast, no drugs or alcohol involved, but he was going way too fast, and in his Corvette, and he died. And that destroyed Reggie White to a point where he just at that point maybe started rethinking about, I'm preaching all this stuff, and like maybe I don't know what's going on here, but. So, he's playing for the Eagles at this point, and he's just like kind of drained. He's kind of like fighting with the media and everything. He's like, you know what? It's like he wants to be traded. Now at this point, he's like, he started the whole like, trade me. I'm going to pick my team, then I'm going to go. We kind of started all that stuff, and people were a little pissed off at him about that back then. But he kind of opened the doors for a lot of that stuff that goes on today, where the free agency market, where these guys like Tariq Hill and whoever it was come on these tours and say, listen, I'm a free agent. He's like, I'm out here. If you guys want to talk to me. And Reggie White was lauded by every team. And I even forgot that the Jets were even in on him. But at the end of the day, like I said before, Reggie White said that he went to the Green Bay Packers because he said God, told him to go there. So, it worked out for him. They won a Super Bowl there. And, and then he retires in 1998. This is around the time when he starts thinking about all this stuff and talking, getting all crazy. And he said the stuff about the homosexual community, and he's talking about race. And he goes in his last season. He's like, I'm going all in. People looking at him under a microscope, waiting for him to say something. But you know what, though? At the end of the day, it's like, I'm going to do my last season. Goes in, wins a Defensive Player of the Year, and he walks out of NFL football and retires. Although he did come back for a season, I think, with Carolina, where he had a couple of sacks, but he was pretty much done with football. So now fast forward to this interview starts, and this guy is talking to him, and the premise of this guy's interview is religion and sports and how they correlate. And they wanted to interview Reggie White for this. Reggie White is in a place now where he's rethinking everything. He was kind of disappointed in himself that his whole entire life, he said that he did everything for somebody else and not for himself. He said that he was not that he was questioning his faith, his loyalty to like one book, the Bible, because he said he at one point he took a trip to Israel and he met somebody out there, and he had seen the interpretation of what the original Bible had said, and it really wasn't interpreted to the Bible that he was saying, what he was preaching for all those years. And he was questioning a lot of stuff. And he said he thought he wasted a lot of his life kind of preaching the word of somebody that he didn't even know if they even existed. So he had a really, really hard time and a crossroad because he truly, truly believed in something. And I think it really hurt him to feel that all that stuff that he truly believed through all those years was all bullshit. Like you could see it in his face too. And I think that really took a mental toll on him. He died at 43 years old of a respiratory failure. It says here he had fatal cardiac arrhythmia and a tissue inflammation and sleep apnea. I don't know what all that is. I'm not a doctor, but all that sounds like there's a lot of stuff that's going to clog up some respiratory stuff and not being able to breathe. He's a big guy, and I don't know how big he was at the end of his day, but I gotta tell you, man, he and the guy that was doing the interview with him, he even said, he goes, even through all that, you're questioning all this stuff, and it was all bullshit and this, that, and the other thing. But at the end of the day, he goes, you did a lot of good stuff. It's like you did a lot of really, really good things for people. And his answer just was, yeah, I know, but it really doesn't mean anything if I don't believe it. And he's absolutely right about that. Here comes my wife coming down here. She had just got back from doing some Christmas Eve shopping. I'll be off in a couple of minutes, Sean. I'm just doing a quick little podcast. You want to come on and talk about something? All right. I'm trying to get her, guys. She's going to come on one day. But, oh, my God, excuse me. Well, yeah. But anyway, it's a really good documentary, and it's about an hour and a half long. And it really goes through all the trials and tribulations. And for his predominant life, it was all about the church, all about God. It was all about this, all about that. I mean, his wife was heartbroken. She knew him for 20 years. And it's like, it's a heartbreaking story about somebody who was so righteous and did the right thing for a religion that one day he woke up and opened his eyes. It's like, this is all bullshit. He's like, what am I doing? And he's questioning. So he died at 43, questioning everything that he preached for all those years. And I don't know, he was a good family man, and really no one had ever said anything bad about him. Bruce Smith was almost in tears. They were interviewing him, talking about what a great guy he is, and it really is it really is heartbreaking. Like when you see that, he was really young, and a lot of these guys die young, but he loved Buddy Ryan. Buddy Ryan loved him, and University of Tennessee, like he had a really good life. And I think that maybe Reggie White, if you asked Reggie White at the age of 30, why young people die, he would probably say because it was God's plan, and God took them, and God had a plan for them. But I think that 43-year-old Reggie White, if you were to ask him that same question a week before he died, it's like, why do people take good people? He'd have a serious problem with that, and he would not have an answer to the question because his eyes are open. Guys really follow stuff blindly at points in their lives. And that's kind of what the gist of what he was saying at the end. He goes, there's so many different religions out there, and you follow something blindly for so many years, and then you open up your eyes to, wow, that was a whole bunch of crap. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Check it out. This Reggie White documentary. It's called The Minister of Defense. And it is Christmas Eve, guys. I almost got an hour in. This is MURFS Quick Hits. I just want to wish everybody out there a very, very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we'll be back with E probably in the new year. And I know he's there at the E-Dubs compound over there and attending to his wife's needs because she just had surgery and everything went well. So like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and I can't wait to go out to dinner tonight. This restaurant is amazing. So Merry Christmas, guys, and we will talk soon. Thanks for watching. Later.